I didn't like it. Hey guys, Amandu here and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I needed to be in the right mood to do it. I needed to be calm. Today is a good day. I woke up, I had breakfast, everything is going alright. Tonight I'm going to watch Avengers Endgame. Everything is going to be perfect. I'm in the mood. I'm prepared to make my very first rant on the internet about something that really upset me. Let me talk real quick about the piece that is accompanying this rant. It's my own take on La Llorona. It is heavily influenced by the whole aesthetic of like martyrs and crying virgins and stuff like that. I really like that. And this kinda came onto me and I had to do it. I'm very obsessed with working with only inks. I ended up adding a little touch of gold, which I think kinda helped it, stand out. So I'm really happy with that. And I'm overall really satisfied. If you follow me on Instagram, which you totally should, I posted the sketch for this. And I was very happy even from that stage of the process, so great. Now, if there's something you need to know about me and how I like my entertainment, then you probably at some point will come across the fact that I really enjoy horror movies. Okay, I love them. Me and my fiance, we adore horror movies. And there are two types of horror movies that we like. The good ones and the really, really bad ones. And we like them for completely different reasons. Therefore, we are very big fans of the whole Conjuring cinematic universe. We really, really enjoyed the first Conjuring movie. I think it was the first time that I ever saw my then boyfriend so scared and so freaked out. And there were several circumstances around, the way we saw it. So the movie left a really good, feel in our mind. From then on, we started watching every movie that came out with that universe. We watched The Conjuring 2, which was okay. We watched Annabelle, which was then Annabelle Creation, which was much better than Annabelle, but still kind of meh. We watched, I don't even know what else is in this universe. We watched The Nun, and The Nun is a weird movie for us because the story isn't like that interesting, but we really enjoy the whole aesthetic where everything is like toxic and everything is so dark. Nuns are creepy just as they are. Like, you don't need to be a possessed nun to be a creepy nun, but this takes it to a whole new level, so we really enjoyed it. And I remember a few months back we saw the trailer for The Curse of La Llorona, and it got us kind of excited because it's a local legend. We are Mexican, born and raised, so watching a movie about a legend that is so prominent here in Mexico had the potential to be really interesting, especially for us. We really wanted to like this movie. So as soon as it came out, we went to the movies, we bought our tickets, and we watched it. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. There are many things I didn't like. First of all, I didn't like the presentation. The entire movie has this weird like green filter over it, so when you have night scenes, it looks really dark and it's hard to even tell what's going on. And when you have scenes in broad daylight, it looks kinda dirty. Now, I'm guessing they did this because they didn't have that much money and they wanted to put a very heavy filter on it because it doesn't feel intentional. When you watch The Nun, everything is so dark and the shadows are so intense and the silhouettes are like purposely blurred into this darkness. You can tell that that was a conscious choice. But when you watch The Curse of La Llorona, that's not the case. It's just dark for the sake of being dark and for you to not realize how crappy the actual kind of ghost thing looks when you have it on screen. It doesn't look really good. It doesn't look cool. It doesn't look interesting. The cinematography is really standard. It's really boring. So well, maybe the story is better, and it really isn't. It's predictable. And one thing is to kind of know what's going to happen in a story, because that can happen to the best of us, You can kind of see where a story is going to go, and maybe they'll have a twist or something that will surprise you in the end. This story, you know exactly how it's going to end from the moment it starts. You just know it. Now, something that really upsets me is, why is La Llorona in 1970s Los Angeles? Like, what is she doing here? The whole legend of La Llorona and the whole idea of her is that she was this woman who murdered her children in Mexico City. Now Mexico City is very south of Mexico. It's in the middle almost. So how is this ghost thing hunting people all the way up in America? But most importantly, why? Like, why would this particular so Mexican ghost be hunting people in the United States? Why? That's just lazy storytelling. Because you can tell me, well, it is an American movie. They needed it to be in America so that Americans could be affected by it. The thing is, did you ever see The Grudge? In The Grudge, the movie happens in Japan, but the protagonist is English speaking because she moved to Japan and that's where she saw all of this happening. So why not have the same thing? Maybe this is a Latino family and there's a whole plot point that goes nowhere about the dad dying, the dad of these children that are getting kidnapped. So maybe the dad died and they were all so depressed that they decided to maybe move to Mexico, or they are going to Mexico on a very long vacation to visit the family they have down there. So why not have them move to Mexico, reconnect with these roots, and when they are reconnecting with these roots, they get hunted by La Llorona. That would make so much more sense, but no, it just happens there. The setting is so annoying because you know how all this cinematic universe is like based in the 70s? This movie doesn't feel taken care of. You know, when you watch The Conjuring or when you watch Annabelle, you really feel like this movie is happening in the 70s, in the 60s. You get the vibe of it. Not with this movie. The only thing that you can tell looks like 70s is the TV, which is really old and really big, but I swear to God, every time the kids were looking kind of bored, I thought they were going to pull out a cell phone and, you know, start playing something. Like, that's just how poorly executed this movie is. The story is pretty standard, it's pretty boring. You know, the mom is supposed to be a social worker. She thinks that some kids are being abused, but in fact her crazy ass mother is trying to hide them from La Llorona, so they take them away and the Llorona drowns them, and then the Llorona starts hunting this woman. They are the protagonists, so you know they are not going to die, and they don't die, and everyone like lives happily ever after. I'm sorry if I've spoiled anything to you, but nothing happens in this movie. I wouldn't even recommend you watch it. Now, the second thing that upsets me the most is something that upsets me and that has been upsetting to me for a long time, which is having actors who cannot speak Spanish play Spanish speaking characters. I understand kind of why this happens. I've been reading a lot about it online, and this was a problem to me ever since I watched Breaking Bad. Now, Breaking Bad has a lot of characters that are part of either Mexican cartels or something like that, so you would expect them to speak Spanish. Now, don't get me wrong, many of them look the part. Like, when I look at these actors, I can tell they are at least of Mexican descent, but the second I hear them talk, I know they aren't. Because the way they speak is so freaking uncomfortable. No one who speaks Spanish as their first language speaks that way. No one. And you can tell, even in this movie, there is this very short scene where Raymond Cruz, good old Tuco Salamanca, is in this movie. He's this kind of priest curandero character that is kind of helping them exorcise La Llorona. I don't know. It makes no sense. But he starts, for some reason, praying in Spanish. Why is he praying in Spanish? Like, if he's trying to be, like, genuine about the prayer, wouldn't it make sense for him to pray in Latin? I don't know. But he starts praying in Spanish, and it pulls me out of the movie completely, because he goes like, Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, and it's like, oh no, why just pray in English if you can't Spanish. And this may not seem like a big issue for people who don't speak Spanish, and it probably isn't, and that's why they keep doing it. You know, with Breaking Bad it was the same. It was like, dile a tu padre que debe ir y traer lo que le hemos pedido. It's like, aren't you supposed to be part of the Mexican cartel? Shouldn't you have some kind of Mexican accent, like an actual one? If you're from the north, or if you are from Mexico City, shouldn't you talk like it? And just hear the comparison, okay? There's a huge difference between dile a tu padre que he traído lo que pidió and dile a tu padre que he traído lo que pidió. It's different, okay? It's completely different. It's like having Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie and trying to sell you that he is an all-American boy with no ascendancy from any other language ever, and then you hear his accent and you're like, yeah, that's what an American man sounds like. Yeah, it's annoying. Especially in this movie because it's only one line. Couldn't they just avoid it? Or I don't know, like dub it? They could have an actual Spanish-speaking person record that line and then paste it over Tuco's mouth moving. I don't know, but it upsets me. It really does. Then we have La Llorona, and they kind of give you a backstory and they tell you how it happened and how she killed her children because she was kind of jealous of her husband leaving her or whatever. And it's unnecessary to show it and tell it because they do both. They cannot decide which one they want, and because the movie's not long enough, they decided to go with both. So you start the movie with like this flashback of how everything happened and how she went crazy and drowned her kids in some kind of weird wedding dress for some reason. And then they tell you about it. Like they tell the story to the woman. The priest from Annabelle starts telling her the story, and it's like, why? Why couldn't you just tell me and then show me the flashback at the same time, or just do one, not both? And La Llorona looks like crap, honestly. It's kinda like they took the recycled makeup from the nun, changed the dress, gave her like very nasty ass looking hair, and then just let her loose in a very, very dark set. And there you go, that's La Llorona. And yeah, like she cries and that's what attracts kids. Then she tries to drown them, and she has like all these mystical powers where she can like open doors and like move objects. And she also has this very ridiculous pattern of possessing people where she leaves brands on their skin to come back for them. Why not just take them right there? I don't get it. Why do you have to come back for like 3 nights? They never explain to you why that amount of time. The mom at the beginning, she says like, oh, I just have to wait one more night of having my children locked in a closet or something and she will leave them alone. How? Who told her that? They never explained that to you. They never explained anything to you. They just assume you're gonna accept it, and I am not going to accept it. Was there anything I liked about this movie? I like the creepy cover of La Llorona that plays in the credits. Now La Llorona is not a creepy song. Maybe if you don't know what it says, you could assume it is. And with that, like, you know, creepy, slow singing, like, ay, de mi Llorona. It looks really creepy and it sounds really creepy, but it's not. It's not a creepy song. And that's mostly because in Mexico, creepiness is a very odd thing because things like that are just so jolly here. And La Llorona is one of those songs that is kind of a love song more than a creepy song. They also have this creepy cover of a song they sing to children, like a lullaby thing, that is honestly so awkward because there's absolutely nothing creepy about that song other than the girl who's singing it, so it's kind of ridiculous. I like how it's vaguely connected to the rest of the movies, like they go with this priest that took care of Annabelle, and then he kind of suggests that they could ask for help to the Warrens, but they don't, so yeah, that's the end of that. And that's it. I don't think I liked anything about this movie. I think it was predictable, it was boring, it was ugly, the ghost looks like crap, the characters I cannot connect to at all. It has that Spanish speaking issue that really pulls me out of any kind of story I'm watching. I don't know, I didn't like this movie, and it makes me really upset because I really wanted to like this movie. I went in with not high hopes, because I never have high hopes with horror movies, but with moderately high hopes. You know, I was hoping for an entertaining experience, and I didn't get it. I was incredibly bored, my boyfriend was incredibly bored, the man who was sitting a few rows in front of us, because we were the only 3 people in the movie theater on premiere day, he was like, I don't know, he was more interested in his chips than in the movie. I think that's what happened to all of us. Would I recommend you watch this movie? No. Would I recommend you feel like very represented as a Latino because La Llorona decided to move from Mexico to LA to haunt you? I mean, if you want to. I wouldn't waste my time, I wouldn't waste my money, and I'm so upset right now. I know this video is kind of different from what I usually do. I kind of enjoyed it, so I may do more movie reviews like this with representative drawing in the background, so I can still share my art but also share my thoughts on other things. I really like that idea. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time. Stay creative, guys. Bye bye.